A year ago, most people had never heard of Ibrahim Traore. And now he's the youngest sitting president in the world at just 34 years old. And he did not get there by winning an election. And hold on, it's not terrible either. Traore is the military captain who led a coup in Burkina Faso in September 2022, ousting the country's interim leader just 8 months after the last one was overthrown. In a region increasingly shaped by coups and anti-Western sentiment, his rise has raised eyebrows. Who is Ibrahim Traore? What does he represent? And what happens when a country turns to the military not once, but twice in a single year? Burkina Faso is no stranger to instability. Since gaining independence from France in 1960, the West African nation has seen multiple coups, but the last few years have been especially turbulent. The reason? Violence. A brutal insurgency has spread from the neighboring Mali, displacing more than 2 million people and claiming thousands of lives. Frustration with civilian leadership, viewed by many as ineffective and corrupt, has opened the door for soldiers to step in. Enter Ibrahim Traore. Born in 1988 in a rural western town in Burkina Faso, Traore came from modest roots. He studied geology before joining the military, where he quickly rose through the ranks. And like many young officers in the region, he was shaped by Sahel's growing crisis, seeing firsthand the impact of insecurity, displacement, and death. But what makes him different is not his messaging. When Traore took power, he did not promise security. He called out what he liked to call the failures of Western domination, implying that Burkina Faso has become too dependent on France, too admissive to foreign interests, and too removed from the needs of its own people. His speeches were filled with nationalist rhetoric, but not empty slogans. He wears military fatigues, but he also speaks about dignity, self-reliance, and revolution. To many Burkinabe youth, especially those disillusioned by the status quo, he represents something fresh, a leader unafraid to defy global powers, to decolonize his country, not just in name, but in strategy. Since taking power, Traore has ordered the departure of French troops, shut down some French media outlets, and strengthened ties with Russia. His supporters see him as a symbol of African sovereignty. His critics warn that he's steering the country towards authoritarianism and aligning with mercenary networks like the Wagner Group. Still, in a country where democracy has failed to deliver, his popularity is real. Videos of him chanting his name, waving flags, and calling him the hope of Africa flood social media. But hope is also a heavy burden. Ibrahim Traore says he doesn't want to hold on to power, that his mission is to, quote, restore order, then return to his country to civilian rule. But history has seen these promises before, and yet his rise taps into something deeper, a question many countries across Africa are now just facing. What happens when people lose faith in democracy but still yearn for justice? Traore might be young, but the stakes he's navigating are old and enormous. Foreign influence, national pride, military power, and the desperate need for safety in a land long under siege. Whether he becomes a liberator or just another strong man remains to be seen. But for now, Ibrahim Traore stands as a mirror, a reflection of what happens when systems fail and people look elsewhere for answers. Hayata out.